All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Make Cool Shit podcast. Today, I'm sitting down with Darren Magarro. He is the founder of the DSM Group, or is it just DSM Group?
You can call it whatever you want.
As long as I'm paying the invoices.
It's right. It's been iterated through time. It's DSM. I'm sure people have called me way worse things, so you can call me whatever you want.
What does DSM stand for?
Darren Sebastian Magarro.
There you go. Beautiful middle name.
Thank you. It's my dad's.
So for the people that don't know you directly, you are an agency owner yourself.
Yep.
Right? We have some crossover on services, if you will. But tell us a little bit about the DSM Group and a little bit about how you started and about today what separates you from other agencies.
How we started. I mean, I've gone through this with you.
Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can remember. Truthfully, you started on a porch with a laptop and a beer.
Not a beer. It was a rotisserie chicken and beers.
Sorry, both.
I had the rotisserie
It was a Boston market, basically.
It was a Boston market and a package store in my house with a laptop and zero clue how to do it.
What year did you start?
It'll actually be 19 years on February 7th. So we're coming up on 19.
We had 9 years yesterday.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tie it back to you because we might not have had 9 years. You know what? We'll just go there. Do you remember this real quick before we get into you?
Yeah, really bad Chinese food in my basement. We hung out. I remember that.
Yes, and then I went to the office. So without, and we could cut this if you don't want to put it in, without putting your dirty laundry out there, you were in a void at 2019.
2019, yeah.
2019-ish. You had a creative void in the business. We'll just call it that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was burnt the fuck out with running a business because at that time I was only running the business for 2 years. This is before I had business partners.
Yep.
This is before I was called Make Cool Shit. At the time, I think I was the O'Brien Creative Group. So I went to you, another New Jersey-based ad agency, and I was like, fuck this, dude, I'm done. I'm gonna bring all my clients to you. You need a creative director, essentially, at that time. Fuck it, like, let's make it happen. Do you remember that conversation?
Absolutely.
I was ready to do it, and then to Darren's credit, at least from what I remember, you were like, I am interested, and I'm willing to move forward, but I want you to stop and go home and truly think about this before you say yes. And thank you, God, that you said that because I would have fucking hated you. Not because of you. I would have hated anybody who would have been my boss.
You weren't burnt out. You didn't. You were too young to be burnt out.
Yes, I thought I was burnt out.
You weren't burnt out. I've had a ton of great people in my life who have been mentors, who have been, I mean, you know my story. Like, losing your dad when you're 18 and being the product of a second marriage is something that, and having to grow up really quickly, like, I relish that role. I had a lot of good men in my life that helped me along the way, that told me, like, every time that I thought you were in the place that I was at when I was 19, I was like, fuck it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I want to do. I just want to buy a car, buy skis, have fun, you know, hang out with my girlfriend who's now my wife. And, you know, we were in college. Like, I was making a ton of money working a construction job. So you weren't burnt out. It's a matter of having perspective. First of all, congratulations to you guys for 9 years.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
It doesn't feel like 9 years.
Just wait until you hit 19. It's going to feel like 87. There's different speeds that come to life. And we were just talking about this before we got on camera. So your daughter, she's 2 years old. You're in a high speed phase right now.
I'm in it right now.
You are knee deep in the shit.
Yeah, literally. Right? Disgusting diaper this morning.
There you go. I don't have any diapers anymore. But with different ages with your kids. So now my daughter, Samantha and I were just talking about this. My wife's name is Samantha. So we were just talking about this morning. We're going to Mexico to celebrate our anniversary. We had 20 years last year. We never got to go on a trip.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So we're going back for a long weekend, and it dawned on us that Olivia, my oldest daughter, is turning 17 April 23rd. we were going to Mexico on like Memorial Day weekend. Guess what?
She could drink legally in Mexico.
No, she's not coming with us.
Okay.
She can drive legally in New Jersey when we're not here. This is all like new territory.
It's a big deal.
So she's getting her license April 23rd, God willing, and we're going to be gone a month and a half later, and she's driving. Now, like, we don't have to coordinate rides for Luca and Tessa to get to school. And like, there's all these things that are happening, but it's also like a different time of life where the problems, and I think you could apply it, bigger kids, bigger problems, bigger agency as you grow, bigger problems. There's more, not just monetary issues, but, you're kind of built like me in a sense that like you care about your people, you care about what you're doing, you care about the product. Like those things become amplified as you get bigger. So, to me, like I'm in a different place in my life, personally, professionally. I'm gonna credit a lot of it, like the conversations we used to have with like Bill and you. We'd sit down and like I thought I was like that was my transitionary period. It was taking me from the young jerk off that I used to be, like that's what it was. Like my mouth was way ahead of my head.
I know the feeling well.
So, and you tend to slow down and different things happen in your life. 2019, I love how you put it, a creative void.
I didn't want to put your business out there.
No, it was, you have a split with your business partner and it happens. I mean, these are all things, now we're like, what is it, 2026? So you're like 7 years on almost. And you're like, all these things happen. Like that happened for a reason. Meeting you happened for a reason, like things happen. And when they happen, there's good, there's bad, there's indifferent, but you learn to like navigate the course a little bit. And that's kind of where I am in my life, I guess.
Yeah, but back in 2019, when I did think I was burnt out and I just wanted to, I guess looking back at it, I wanted to take away some of the stresses of what it was like to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, fuck this. Let me just give it to Darren, right? I was going to bring all my clientele. Now, at the time, it wasn't that much revenue, but I was like, okay, let me bring it into your business, into DSM. But the thing that really struck me now that I'm looking back at it with hindsight, even at the time, it was interesting to me, but you had an actual creative void, like your creative director partner left. Now, I didn't come into you and say, hey, make me a partner in your business, because at that time I didn't deserve to. But most people would have, quote unquote, signed me in the room, right? Most people would have just said, yes, let's go. Let's not let this guy go home and think about it. Let's fully flush this out. Because you gave me that space and ability to be like, okay. I sat down and talked with my wife, Gabby, again, and I was like, I don't know, like Darren is cool. Like if I was to have a boss, maybe I wouldn't try to kill him. You know what I mean? Like you'd maybe be one of the bosses that I would respect, right? And then after talking about it with my wife and my family one more time, I was like, I got to keep doing it myself. But the point is, Make Cool Shit wouldn't be here today. The podcast, nothing would be here today if you just said, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because having the conversation, I had a little bit more perspective at that point, a little bit more experience, and things were moving fast in my life too. There was a lot of things happening. There was a lot of moving parts. Obviously, everything's worked out great for everybody, in the end. But, like I said, I remember you coming over. We sat in my basement, had Chinese food, had a few beers, and you talk. And like, I guess at that point in my life, I needed to learn everything up until that point in my life was easy. It was simple.
Well, you were going through personal issues, some health issues.
Yeah.
Right? Your business was at the time, maybe in your mind was not crumbling, but you have a massive issue to deal with.
It felt like it was crumbling because like I said, when you have the first, what was that, 19, so it was, the business at that time was like 12 years old.
So you're humming along, you're sounding like...
Not even humming along, like it was just up and to the right. Like it was going with the economy during the 2010s.
Gotcha.
So it was like every year, no joke, every year from '07. And when I say like I was in a front porch, like I was in a front porch. It was me, the front porch. It was Jerry Maguire, sans the goldfish. Like it was like my wife was like, "What are you doing? Like if you're gonna do this, like it was like Kunu and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Like now you gotta do something.
Yeah,
like you have to have some sort of plan." And so having that time in my life to be able to like deal with all those things was something that you went through. I saw what you were going through. It was different, it was a different scale, whatever. But like the way you've always been, and it's a credit to you and your character, having restraints is not going to be good. And so it's the same with me. Now I have some restraints because I have, you have a big team of people. You got to make sure you're doing the right thing. That's why we have Charlene. Charlene is the ultimate, protector. Char, you're the ultimate protector of the realm. But like having those experiences, I could see a lot of myself in you. It was just a few years behind me. So, and I've learned, although I still am learning this every day. I try not to react. I try to think more before I react. And it doesn't always work, and I'm not always great at it. I still have my moments, but it's been this way in my personal life. I joke that I'm Sicilian. That's where the temper comes from. It's an excuse, you know, like
because I'm Irish and I also have a temper.
Well, but you learn as you go. Like as a parent, as a dad, with your daughter, you're tested with patience. There are things I'm sure you're sitting there, you're like, what are you doing? This is what used to drive me crazy. And now, especially with Olivia, like you've followed my socials. Like Luca and I are like we've been boys since like, Luca's my son.
I still remember that he's old as hell now.
Dude, I said to him today, he's like, tell Mr. Drew. He goes, tell Mr. Drew. He's like, he drew me he created my Air Jordans.
Yeah. I remember that. That's funny. And then you sent me that nice video.
Yeah.
I have it favorited in my phone.
Bro, he's now 6 foot, like 170 pounds. He's big. He's as tall as you. He's bigger than me. I have a picture I'll show you from the trip. Between my brother-in-law, my nephew, and my son, I'm the shortest in the picture.
Good. If he's playing football, he needs to put on a little muscle though.
He does. He definitely does.
You got to hit the weight room, my guy.
Luca, you got to hit the weight room. I've been saying this forever. But having those experiences, like tying it back to being a parent, they test you. Everything tests you. And I had this like relationship like this with my daughter Olivia that now I said it to her. I'm like, she's going to be in college in a year and a half. And I said to her the other day on the way I take her to school every morning. And I said, I'm really going to miss you. I'm really going to miss, like, now she's into music. She loves like All Nation and John Mayer, like the Life Channel. And like,
she's an adult.
She is, and
which is crazy.
Yeah. But it happens like that.
Yeah. I could already, obviously my daughter's only 2, but even at this small scale. And it's interesting because like you mentioned tying in family or being a father and being a business owner. I always looked at Make Cool Shit as my baby, right? And yes, now I have multiple companies and whatever, and things are going great, but the concept is still the same, right? I have more patience now as a father than I ever did as a non-father. And now that patience, albeit maybe I have like 5% more patience than I had before, but it does truly translate into the business now. But what happened with me, and you had kids younger than I did. I had my first kid at 36. So I was an old dad, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I'm hungrier now than I've ever been because now I see this little human. And now I'm like, okay, since 2017, I have been eating what I kill, right? And you've been the same way. Since you opened up your company, you are getting paid by sales that you've made yourself. Mm-hmm. Obviously, yes, we all have teams and what have you, but you are eating what you kill. And not everybody really fully comprehends that, right? If you're a 9-to-5 employee at a company, which is cool, I'm not judging it, but like,
it's not the same.
We know what it's like to make payroll by Friday, mm-hmm. right? And how many times have you not paid yourself, right? How many times have I not paid myself, right? More than we'd like to admit publicly, I'm sure. But it's made me so much hungrier. So do you still have that hunger, even though you have 3 kids and they're older? You have 3 kids at 3 different age levels. You might not be in the diaper era like I'm in, but you're still in the thick of it in terms of raising kids. They're still in the house.
It's what's the best way to say this? It's different. It's a different age, but it's a different set of problems. So now you're dealing with the problems that your daughter, like, it's just
Different scale.
It's different scale. You know, it's the emotional part of it, especially with girls. You're gonna see like the emotional part of it. Getting to high school, you know, I have 2 high schoolers. It's a different. I think what I try to do, and there are moments where I still have these like epiphanies or like aha moments where you're sitting there and you're like, I didn't go through this shit.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
You know, like high school, you'll see today when your daughter, and I don't even know what it'll be in another 12, 13 years.
God only knows.
But like, these are the things that you're sitting there. One of the biggest things today that you see, you know, Luca just started freshman year and Olivia's in her junior year. Kids don't like back other kids up like they used to. You know, like I had my crew.
Yeah, we all did.
Like you have a group of 5, 6 friends that are, like you're super close with. And I had a conversation with Luca about this, and he went to private school from like 2nd to 7th grade and then went back to public school for 8th grade, and then he wanted to play football, so he had to go to a public high school. And he's just like, it's overwhelming sometimes. Like kids now, all they do is like they're out all the time. And it's like social media, keeping up with. And I'm like, bro, just do you.
Yeah, we went out, just had to be home when the streetlights came on.
Right. Or you didn't go out every night. Like I don't remember in high school, I didn't go out every night.
No.
Like during the week, I was
Friday, Saturday, that's it.
Well, yeah, like, or like you played sports, like
that's it. You
whatever.
had sports, you had a game, there's no going out.
Right.
You go home.
But like now it's like just ongoing. And I'm like, Luca, you don't have to do all that. Like just do you. I told him, buddy, find your tribe. Yeah. Find your tribe.
That's a good point though. But you know, because when you're 15, 16, 17, you're not thinking like that. You're just trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're just trying to fit in.
It's overwhelming.
You know, you're not focusing on being your authentic self. Yep. You're trying to be the person that you probably think that the rest of the school wants you to be.
Well, think about what you just said, right? Finding your authentic self. How long did it take you to find that authentic self, right?
You started, the business, 7 years.
Right. It started out as O'Brien Creative Group, and now you're here. But I remember you going through that creative process and having it be like, but you matured over that time.
I had to take my name off the door.
Right. I still haven't taken my name off the door.
But you have that, you made it an acronym, so it's different.
But to the point, having that maturity to be able to, and having the comfort in your own skin to put that out there. I remember as you were going through it, you're like, well, what do you think? Like, this is what the brand's going to be. And here's what and here's why. And I was like, go with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who wouldn't do that.
I was scared shitless. And truthfully, pun intended, I was scared shitless to do it. And I didn't ask that many people their opinion. I really only went to the people whose opinion that I would take seriously. Now, at the end of the day, if you still told me, no, don't do that, I think it would be wrong, I probably still would have done it. But I maybe asked like maybe 5 people what they think about it, because you're right. And I say this to my clients all the time, right? When you're building a brand, especially from scratch, right? Like sometimes we're helping them with the name, right? So it's like, I either say it's gotta be a fuck yeah or a fuck no, right? Or hell yeah, hell no, yes, no gray area, right? So make cool shit. And it's funny, I've probably talked about this on a million episodes, but even when I started Make Cool Shit, I just lightly changed it and like slowly, like I didn't dive in 100%. Now we're dove in, we're like, now every single day I try to make sure how much can we differentiate ourselves every single day, right? Because as a business owner, that's the only way we're gonna get more clients, right? Is by separating ourselves from the pack. But I asked you and you're like, yeah, like no one's doing this. And I don't remember exactly, but you were like, yo, how do you feel about it? I was like, I think it's something I need to do. And then you're like, then
do it.
Then forget what I say, forget what my really what it was, I was worried about the current clients that were paying us, right? We went from, to your point, Drew O'Brien Creative LLC, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. You were on a porch. I was in a 1-bedroom apartment in Montclair, right? Then I went O'Brien Creative Group because I was like, oh, we're bigger now. Or it's not just Drew. It was, right? And then I went to the design company when Dave and Phil came along, right? And now we're Make Cool Shit. But the point is, not to make it about me, is like, I was a fucking fraud as a business owner for 5, 6, 7 years.
But you and me both. The
Yeah.
DSM group, when I was sitting in the front porch, was the DSM group. So going back to the beginning of what you're saying, when you get to a point, right, it was me. I had to be a fraud, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
To get to be one person in a front porch and be the DSM group, right? That was 07.
You were smart, though. You added the group.
I added the group because the group was my wife at the time and our dog.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
and the rotisserie chicken that you were
and the rotisserie chicken and the Miller High Lives. Now the company, our logo is just DSM. I think corporately we're still the DSM Group Inc. or whatever it is.
That's what's on the invoices.
Right.
Clients, make sure you pay the invoices, okay?
Pay the invoices. But like you had to go to your point about going through a process of like you were nervous about what your paying clients would think and whatever. Over the course of the last 9 years, especially in this business, and this is something when we first started, this was my badge of honor. Like, we don't lose clients. Everybody loses clients.
It's
inevitable. Yeah. And like, that's the whole point. We've lost clients now that I'm still friends with.
Yeah. Same
but
here.
like things happen, in their lives, catastrophes happen. We had one client that like, they had 2 domains. They had their website. The website got locked up. They were getting held for like 100,000, Bitcoin or something. Like, what are you going to do? Like what you have is your authentic, like, responsibility to those people. And, you find as you get, I don't know, man, you find as you get older, like it doesn't work with everybody, and that's okay. And that is like, I'm going to be 49 in 2 months or a month and a half, not even a month and a half, February 16th. And no joke, like I'm just getting to a place over like the last year and a half where it's like, I'm not for everybody. And that's cool. And as a team, we're not for everybody. So to your point about like differentiating yourselves, whatever, that's a part of like the process. And that's like refining and being okay with it. And the ones you're sticking with, like Ralph, he came with me from when I left the old agency. We started, still have our first client, and he's my best friend, or one of my best friends. I have best friends from like growing up, but like there's nobody closer other than my family. When I have a problem, like a personal thing, I go to him. And as a dad or as a husband or whatever. And that's like, that was built from just my old agency owner putting us together in a room and being like, you don't pay a lot of money. Here's our youngest AE. You guys work together. Yeah. It became something that was
something significant in your life. Started with a random ass meeting. That's what I was trying to get at, right? So it's funny, you mentioned earlier, literally on our website, I think it says, we're not for everybody, and that's the point, right? I looked at your website before coming here. I've seen creatively, visually, right, multiple iterations of the DSM group. Not necessarily changing your logo, but I went on your website. You're front and center now, right? You weren't before, right?
I never wanted to be.
So neither did I. I never want. But look, now we're on a podcast.
I can't believe you didn't even put the best part of the why I was front and center.
Your mustache.
My mustache.
Yeah.
Zinka. See, Drew loves it too. Drew loves it. I'm bringing the mustache back.
Mustaches are back in, people. I'm
bringing it back. It was very Tom Selleck, Magnum PI.
It's a powerful mustache. I would even argue that that should have just been like your Instagram icon.
Remember the little icon thing you made me?
Yeah, I remember. That was in COVID. So I did a design a day.
There COVID, you go.
Just because
I still have that. It was like, and it's just the eyebrows. I was like, wow, my eyebrows are really bushy.
Yeah, it's like a caricature though. You have to make it more exaggerated than it normally is. But So it's funny because Make Cool Shit, we're obviously a specific flavor, right? Now we could build corporate brands, we could build crazier brands, but our brand as a company is a specific flavor. And this is why I love this podcast, because to the general public, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, right before you had this conscious thought, it seemed like DSM might have been for everybody if they had the proper budget. Mm-hmm. Is that fair enough to say?
Sure.
So who is your ideal client now, right? One of my first questions before we popped into everything, because I just said, fuck it, let's go into a monumental decision that you helped me with in my life. DSM, you're an agency. That word agency means a lot of different things. I actually fucking despise the word agency. I refer to us as a studio. I also hate that word too. But everybody like puts this word agency, it has a different meaning for different people. Mm-hmm. What is your core product and who is your ideal customer?
Our core product now is strategy and like executing and reporting. It's funny you mentioned this because I was on a call earlier today with a prospective new client. And one of the things that Dan, word up, dude.
Shout out Enrico.
Shout out Enrico. One of the things we were saying was going into like creative about digital strategy, right? You put out ABC tests, whatever it may be.
So for the layman talking about ads, right? Running a piece of content A, content B, content C.
Right.
Totally different designs.
It's 3 different ad sets with similar creative to see what is going to work the best. And then, obviously call it ABC because
it sounds boring, but it's very, very important.
It's very important to what we do. But we said there's some times where in our agency, especially where we have a strategy, execution, and reporting team like Dan's, and then we have our creative team that's run by Jess. The creatives are always going to fight for the best creative.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
But sometimes the best ads are creatively bullshit.
Well, not only creatively bullshit, but it's not even about creatively bullshit. Sometimes we run an ad set and the most beautiful ad gets the worst results.
A lot of the times that happens because you're not strategizing the creative. You're just trying to make the coolest thing visually, but it doesn't actually attract the buyer.
Correct. And so that's where we get into sometimes, you have to have, especially with us, where now like at whatever it is, 16, 17 people with 3 departments, you have 3 different voices. You have the creative department where, Jess has been there now going on 4 or 5 months. She's starting to mold the team. Matt and Sarah have been there like 5 years each. And then you have Dan's team with, Clayton and Isabel, who's on maternity leave, and Kalina and Jeremy. And like, you're bringing all these voices together. And the voices are, everybody's fighting for their own thing, and it's an interesting dynamic. And like now where I sit, like for me, it's all about the relationships and like new biz. To your point, that's where I need to focus. Like and I used to struggle with this.
That's your expertise though.
Well, and I used to struggle with this a lot because you have something to fall back on. You're a creative by trade. I'm not. I'm a media buyer by trade. So I'm not negotiating Altice deals or, radio deals or TV deal like every day. So for me, to get back to the point about what you were saying about we kill what we eat, that goes through ebbs and flows.
I know.
Yeah. So there's times where I think one of my biggest weaknesses, in my opinion, is imposter syndrome. And it's tied directly to the ebb and flow of like new deals. And that's really where I've turned my attention to, like starting in the beginning of 2025, we set a hard goal. We said, this is what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to do it. And that's, I think, at this point in my career, because I don't get involved in the strategy or the execution, like I hope if you asked everybody at DSM, I'm a pretty like hands-off leader. Like Zinka and Shar and Dan and Mayor and Jess run the day-to-day of the agency. But if I don't do what I do,
then there's no running of the day-to-day.
Then there's no DSM.
Yeah, for sure.
So
imposter syndrome, I'm glad you brought that up because when I first started this podcast, I think this is only episode 7 or 8 that you're going to be on, right? So this is still a brand new thing for us. And when I first started, I had cards and I had questions and I had a little bit more of prep where I prefer, especially you, I've known you for years. I don't need prep, right? We already know each other. But our first guest was a co-friend of ours, Jamie Knott. And the only reason why Jamie Knott is now a partner with me in Sunday Sauce is because I met him at your event with Ralph. So like, you see how all this is coming back together? But the point is, one of the questions I used to ask everybody on the podcast was, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? So Jamie is a creative. He's not a designer, but he's a chef, right? So he has that creative background. Everybody in the design space, if you are a designer, whatever that means to you, I believe that you have imposter syndrome no matter what, because you don't know, hey, is this brand that I just built look exactly like Nike in the back of your mind? Or is this original or whatever it is, right? You said yourself, you aren't a creative, whatever that means. You are a creative person with how you run your business, but you don't know how to draw like I might, or you don't know how to use the program.
I don't know how to draw shit.
Or you don't know what a creative director might do, right? So I do have a skill that I could fall back on. Great. But I love hearing that you have imposter syndrome, because I do believe everybody does. But what does that really mean to you? Because you're not looking at it from a creative standpoint in terms of like, oh, does that logo look good? Or does that website look great? Or, it's not as black and white. You might be a little bit in the gray area, because you might be like, oh, we didn't hit our goal for this year. Does that make me a fraud? Is that a little bit of like how you look at imposter syndrome? Because you have a different background than we do as designers.
No, I think imposter syndrome, to your point, I think everybody has a little bit of it.
And if they say they don't, they're just lying to you.
Or they're a sociopath.
Or a narcissist.
Probably
a little bit of both.
Probably. No, I think that's what makes us good at what we do. I think that's what makes everybody good at what they do. If you don't have a little bit of imposter syndrome, like
a little bit of humility, maybe, you know what I mean?
Well, as you go through it, I think humility and the fact that you have imposter syndrome, let me tie it back to like the first, right? So 2007 to 2018, the company is running, everything's smooth. We're doing shit, like fucking shit up in the world. The FSU, ITW. 2019 comes and it comes to a screeching halt. In the process of doing that, tying all these things back, now that I'm like thinking about it, tying all these things back together, finding your tribe, finding who you need to, what got you here from here to here is not going to get you from here to here. And so finding your tribe, aligning with the Zinkas and Charlene's, like people who really, really care about you and care about like every decision that's made. And Zinka just said it because we got into a little tiff earlier this week.
Zinka.
Well, she's right. And I'll say it. Zinka,
she probably was right.
She was right. She absolutely was right. But no joke, like we still get into it, but I know deep down in my heart, the decisions, this is going to be the next phase of what happens with me. This is now the transition as I approach, I'll be 50 in a year and a half, I'll be 49 next month. Making decisions has always been something that's been important to me because I feel very responsible about the team, right? So that imposter syndrome is tied in with making enough money, bringing enough new clients in, all the things that you need in order to grow a business. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're not growing a business, what are we doing, right?
Yeah. Sales is the only thing that can allow all of the other things to happen in the business.
Correct. Now, having two people at your side, one on the financial side and one on the operations side, which neither I'm very good at. You know, like my claim to fame before Charlene came in was buying a 12 horsepower Igloo cooler with running boards that I could ride around the parking lot of the office in Franklin Lakes.
Yeah, but it's a dope cooler though.
It was a very dope cooler.
But that's very important to understand your weaknesses. It took me so long. I had the biggest ego from the design standpoint. And then I realized I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But if you don't have
I think
that,
you do.
Well, in terms of running, in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing in terms of running a business because I was just a designer, but so did you. But you found your tribe. You found your people that you're ready to go to battle with.
Correct.
if you don't find those people, and it doesn't have to be in design or agency, it could be in anything. It could be your partner in life, right? If you don't find that person that you're willing to, run through a brick wall for, then you're just going through life alone, right? Big businesses, great lives aren't built solo. They're built with other people involved.
100%.
And you made an amazing point, right? The same people that are going to get you from A to B aren't going to get you from B to C and C to D and so on and so forth.
And without the experience of 2019, I wouldn't be where I am today with, Zinka and I joke that she's like my younger sister and Charlene's my older sister. Charlene, I'm not disclosing your age. She's just older.
She doesn't look a day past 38.
Right. Char, 38. But one of the things that like continually plays in my mind, especially as I approach 50, and you're going to, you've known me long enough.
Well, so I do know you long enough. You've mentioned it like 4 or 5 times. Is this something you're worried about?
No.
Is this like a number that like you're like scared to say out loud or
no? But as I approach 50, what I'm now understanding is for me, my imposter syndrome was built around those decisions and making sure that taking care of everybody, like at the company and whatever iteration of the company it was. It went from 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 to 7 to 22, now back to 16, like whatever iteration that was, the ebb and flow. That was paramount to me. And that's what drove my ego of like, if I don't do this and I fail people, then I'm a failure. I'm not I can't control everything.
Yeah, I struggle with that as well. I think all business owners should. So, because like, to your point, right? If you don't, you're kind of a sociopath, like you said, or you just don't give a fuck, which is even worse.
But that's what makes you successful. That's what drives good business people. But that's also what drives good human beings. Like I posted a thing that I saw on LinkedIn the other day about Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's like, I don't care if they're your best. And like, I'm not a Gary V. There's some things I really appreciate, and there's other things that I'm like, bro, like, relax, slow down. But he said it. He goes, I don't care if it's your highest performing salesperson. If there's a person in your company who is a shitty human being, cancer spreads.
That's a good point.
And that's what it's about. And it's not like saying that X person is cancer or this or whatever. Like the experience has happened. And as you go through them, as I'm now approaching my 19th year of doing this, I see why Zinka and Charlene were so important. Not only to put bumpers on me from like the financial side of things, but also the point I'm trying to make with this is it's gotten me to the point where they're better than me at making decisions some days.
That is an amazing thing to hear because you couldn't have made that. No. You couldn't have said that sentence 5 years ago.
I couldn't have said that sentence 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah, I mean, that's a powerful thing, right? And that's why the best leaders in any business, the best leaders of anybody in any category, right? Not just business. If you don't have the humility to say a statement like that, right? Like, I want to get to a point at Make Cool Shit where I am not the most talented designer at Make Cool Shit. I'm not there yet because we're not there financially to bring in someone better than me yet, but I can't fucking wait for that day.
That's Drew's way of saying he's humble enough. He's humble enough. Dude, you'll get to a point. I think if you're doing business well, you'll get to a point where you become comfortable enough. The good days and the bad days, you're going to have both. You know it. There's good days, there's bad days, everything in between. But if you can get to the point where you can say, I don't have to make every decision. You're better at and not just from an operations or a financial, like the where the rubber meets the road. I'm saying when you can like in another conscious state, and I'm not floating above the room.
Yeah.
But if you can get to a place where you can say to your COO and CFO of 8 and 9 years, hey guys, you think with more clarity on this than I do.
I trust you.
I trust that you have the best interests of me and the business in mind. That gets you to a place. It's not lazy, but it's saying all those million paper cuts that you had over the years and all the scars that formed over them, some decisions, it gets you thinking, like you think about it the wrong way. And those hurts.
Because you're too close to it?
Well, you're too close to it. There's stored up anger about it. You're not thinking clearly. Like somebody's coming at it with a cleaner perspective than you are.
Yeah, I say that all the time. I literally just had a call 5 minutes before this pod started with Jacqueline. Second shout out for Jacqueline Davies on the podcast. I don't want to put her business out there because things aren't finalized, but she's looking to do something on her own. She was one of my first employees in the business, and she's looking to start her own business. I think I could say that. And she's talking about it, and she's like, wow, you're making really good points. And what I said to her was, it's so much easier for me to talk about my clients and talk about my clients' businesses than it is your own, because you're in your own business 24/7 and you're so close to it. When you're working on a client, you are able to look at it from an outside perspective. You're able to go at it with that clean slate, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what your C-level team is able to do. Like, hey, I'm not the D, the S, or the M in DSM. That's Darren. I know what his tendencies are. I know what he wants. But more importantly, I think what the best part about your team setup is they have their own sweat equity in the game too, right? Meaning like they've been there. Yeah. They've seen you nearly collapse physically and emotionally, mentally, all of the ways you could do it. And we've all been there as business owners, right? Yeah. I've had panic attacks. I've had full-blown breakdowns before. Yeah. That's not the stuff that people want to talk about on social media. That's not the fun things about running a business. But yeah, it's fucking hard, right? So if you do have those people, that right-hand man or right-hand woman on your side, it alleviates it to a level that I don't even fully comprehend yet because I'm not there. But I can't wait until that happens for me one day.
One of the things is actually funny because one of the things like we've stayed around 16, 17, 18 people, for the last 5 years, whatever it's been, 3-5 years.
Which is a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
Right? Like if you put 18 people in this room's almost filled. I just didn't want the listener to just my mom, just one listener. I didn't want to shout out. What's up?
My mom's gonna listen too.
Two moms.
Two moms.
Two moms and maybe two wives. Maybe my wife probably won't.
My wife definitely won't.
No shot. But if you put 18 people in, like 18 employees is a lot of fucking people. People don't even realize that because they're always like, oh, Amazon has thousands of people or whatever, right? Like that is 18 families.
But it's 18 people that and I know family is like a dirty word in business, but it's 18 people that one of the things we joke about at DSM, they don't leave.
You don't have a high turnover rate, which is true. Which is true. I know that for a fact.
We don't have a high turnover rate. Like I said, there's ebbs and flows in the business that we've had to let people go, but we've stayed close. We've helped people find other jobs at like other friends' companies and things like that. The responsibility, whether you're dealing with, 2 people or 10 people or 20 people or 50 people, if you're thinking about, and I'll say this to anybody watching that's thinking about starting a business, Jacqueline, whatever it is, invest in those people. Investing in the relationships, and it sounds like really like zen and whatever, and I could say it to you, like investing in the relationship, going all the way back to when we met. Like the reason I told you to go, it wasn't just because of the constraints. It was like, you need to find your own way. I had to find my own way. If you're going to do this, you need to find your own way. And you had it in you. We all get tired. We're there for one another. That's the beauty of this community in New Jersey. I think it's one of the best things. I have friends that just through the ad club or whatever it is that are just friends. Like we used to talk a lot more. Life is now, I have 3 kids, you have a kid, like you're running your business.
My life's changed a bit.
Yeah, like.
But to your point.
But if you called me or I called you and said, 100%. I need this.
Yeah.
Or you said, I need this. You're going to do whatever you can to help.
I wouldn't even think about it.
Right.
But it's funny now that I am getting older, now that I am a father, now that I have run the business for close to a decade now, which is crazy. I still have my core friends that I went to high school with, right? Still to this day, right? But when you get older, you really start to realize like who your ecosystem is, right? And I have an ecosystem along with my business partner, Phil.
And how it gets smaller
and
smaller.
Exactly.
And,
and who we want to
tighter.
let in, right? And who we want to move forward with. There's only 10 to 20 people that I could think of if I called. I could trust that whatever the fuck I said on that phone call, someone's going to try to help me out and actually make it happen. Yeah. You are one of those people. Now, do we talk every day? No. But even when I was starting this podcast, I was like, I got to get Darren on, right? Part of this podcast is because obviously it's for, it's to build our audience, it's to build social media clips, it's to do all these things, but it's to sit down with people like you that I, maybe like, I didn't know half of the shit that you already said about DSM, like where you're going. You finally realize that you're not for everybody, because I stupidly looked at DSM. I was like, okay, yeah, they're doing better than us financially, but they're like the corporate people, right? By the way, this is wrong, Drew. This is the wrong thought process. This is ego-driven, Drew. I was like, DSM, fuck them. They're for like banks. We're not banks. We're make cool shit, dude. Like we're like the cool, like. And I started realizing, not just with DSM, that's how I looked at a lot of my competition. And even though we're not in direct competition, but I looked at other people as enemies rather than, oh, how can we work together? Right? Yeah. And I think maybe that's not how you started, but that's how, when I met you, that's how you came looking at me. And now you've also sent us clients, right? People that weren't fit for you, but might have been a fit for us. You could have just told them to fuck off in a nicer way than how I'm saying it, but you're like, no, I know Drew over on Make Cool Shit. Like, yeah, maybe that's
a few I'd like to tell fuck off.
Yeah, trust me, I understand. But I think that's also very important to make clear and kind of give you your flowers. Not only did you literally prevent me from making a huge mistake, easy to look back at it in hindsight, right? From myself, you have been a mentor to me. I don't know other agency owners, or I do now through networking, but before I really like business owners in 2017, I really just like knew you. Like I didn't grow up in like an entrepreneurial like mindset, right? Like, and now to this day, you're one of those people that I could look back at or at least call, and no matter what, like as grown men, you don't have you don't have that many relationships in your life that are like that.
My work here is done. I've literally
honestly that is a bit of a mic drop moment. Now that I am finally having a little bit more perspective on life itself, business owner, fatherhood, all that stuff. What's the biggest piece of advice that you would give someone that works as a leader of men, women, leader of people, right? You have almost 20 employees. You're supporting families. Because outside of all this, you're also a good fucking person, right? Like you have a good heart.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who would probably say otherwise, but I appreciate
the people that really know you know that you have a good heart, right? All the other stuff, that's all, they can say whatever they want, but no, I don't think anybody could say Darren's an asshole, right? They might say you have a bad taste in English football clubs. They might say you have a bad taste in NFL teams. That's whatever.
Okay.
But the point is, you are a good person. Yeah. And I think that's very important to the core of how your business has grown over the years.
That's a really good question. I'll tie this back to an earlier part of the conversation that we were having with what I said to Luca. I think it's about my son. I think it's about being true to yourself, I guess, is the best way to say it. I don't think anybody's perfect. I don't think anybody has all their shit together.
I sure don't.
Well, as you get older, you get perspective, and it's a little cliche, but I think you get a little bit more comfortable in your skin about who you are, what your preferences are in EPL teams and things like that. But it allows you, and I'll tie it back to having kids, and you're gonna see this as your daughter grows up. Those lessons you learn, you get to impart them. This is the biggest part, I think. Having good people, having good male role models. I've had, since college, since my dad passed away, right? So I had Kenny Sullivan, and I had Gary Caton, and I had, I have Tom Greco now. Like in every part of my life since I lost my dad, I've had a male figure that's older than me, more experienced, that can rein me in. I think I'm a lot calmer than I used to be, but like I used to be like an unchained junkyard dog. To the point about, to the point about what you were saying about everybody in my mind. Like when I first started DSM, everybody was the competitor. Everybody was the enemy. I'm going to
steamroll them or get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah. Like what's the next? And now as I've built up relationships and you get a little bit more experience, you see like, how can we help each other? I think that's like the light switch moment. Like, how can we help each other? How can we make and in certain cases there isn't like, and I think the other thing that's really important, what you see on the outside and what you see on social media and all this, like I've really kind of like, and I'll give flowers to my wife on this one because she's not a real like social media person.
Shout out Samantha.
Shout out. I've really toned it down because I actually took the month of December off. I didn't go on. I wasn't, I posted a birthday thing for Luca, but like I wasn't on Reels. Like people were sending me messages or like, are you alive? Are you all right? And it was like the best month of my life because being a kid now, right, in high school or whatever, this is where the pressure builds up because you're seeing everybody else doing all these things. And why don't I get invited to, this ski trip, or why don't I get invited here, or this, that, and the other thing? And it's like, this is life. Like find your people, find the people you're going to be happy with. Yeah. You didn't get invited to the ski trip, or you didn't get invited to this party or whatever. Like we didn't have to deal with that. Maybe you a little bit because with cell phones and stuff like that, like I didn't even have a cell phone. I didn't have a cell phone until I went to work.
I didn't have a cell phone until I hit high school.
Yeah. I definitively did. I had 2000 was my BlackBerry, my Nokia and BlackBerry when I started working in 2000, because I worked in the city. Like that was my first foray into cell phones. Now they see everything. It's like, who likes what? Like, who cares? And
it goes back to being your authentic self, just
being your authentic self, but having that, and I literally just lived it by not going on social media for a month, and no joke, it was amazing. Yeah. I didn't pay attention to anything. I had some personal stuff going on in my life with my sister got sick and things like that, but that I had to attend to, but people got worried. They're like, you all right? I was like, yeah, I'm just living my life.
Now that I do think about it, I have less memes coming from your DMs.
Right. But yeah. And people didn't even know, and the stuff you sent, my wife, it drives her nuts. Samantha, I'm sorry, but it drives her nuts. She's like, these are the stupidest things. It's chubby Chinese kids dancing and dude, that kid's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen you.
Yeah, on my stories or whatever. I got into in November, in mid to late November.
You were posting that every day.
It was amazing. I was.
It's funny because I do remember saying to myself yo, what the fuck is this guy doing?
It was great. I got really into that kid, and then I went off the bridge.
He's good though. He's talented. He's
very talented. But playing into your authentic self, I think, is really important. Giving a shit, if you're going to start a business, giving a shit about the people that are actually helping you create and do all the things that you want to do in order to achieve success. Getting back to the point about Gary Vee, if somebody's not rowing the boat in the same direction, this was the biggest lesson I took from 2019. If somebody's not rowing the boat in the same direction, life goes on.
Drop kick him off the boat. But everybody, all the turmoil that I had in my life, I think everybody's doing great. I'm doing fine. They're doing fine. Everybody's fine. And people moved on with their lives. This is really deep stuff, but having the foresight and the experience and the maturity, I think, to be able to process things differently that you're doing now, everybody's not an enemy, or business stuff, or
as a dad, like I have to be a little bit more patient. I have to be more patient with my wife, like because women come at it from a different perspective than men. You know, moms are moms, dads are dads. And I used to go at it and be like, I'm not their parent. I'm not their friend. I'm their friend. I'm not their parent.
I'm their best friend. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, no, you have to be friends with them too. That's a part of the job. You don't get to not be one and the other. And
you have to be all of them.
You have to be all of them. That's what this, like, certain days you're going to be their best friend. Other days you're going to be their parent. And so having being a good person, having a good partner, you know, I mean, I'm sure for you, you know, with your wife, now you guys have been married, what, like 5, 6 years, 7 years?
Got married in 2019, been together for like 11 or 12 years.
Yeah. But like
having... She's not going to watch it, so it doesn't matter.
She'll watch it. I'm glad I did this today because it's one of those things where it's like you get emotional about things now and you just see things in a different perspective, you know, and having the outlet to be able to do this is cool. Like we're not the same people that we were. And that for the people that work for us, for the people that live with us, for the people that are in our sphere of influence, I think that is paramount. Like that's the advice I'd give.
Well, if we were the same people we were when we met in 2017, we'd probably be dead.
I would definitely
through a panic attack, a heart attack.
I would definitely be dead.
Yeah. And once again, without putting your stuff on, you know, out on the internet, like, yeah, you were having a physical reaction to the emotional aspect of the business, right? So you hit the nail on the head on, you know, when the only other piece of advice I wish someone told me if I got to go back in time, outside of not everyone's your enemy, which is what I thought it was in the past, is ask questions, right? Like find someone, and this is what I kind of did with you, find someone that's in your space that's ahead of you and ask as many questions as you possibly can.
Yeah. And find somebody who's not in your space who could be a good, all right, so to put a bow on this, find somebody in your space that has been through more experiences that you can ask questions to, absolutely. But find somebody outside your space that has been successful in life and
find a good mentor.
Ask them the hard questions, because the stuff that I talk about with my mentor, Tom, now, 10% of this stuff is about business. It's about being Tom's kids are grown up, married, have kids. He was wildly successful in like what he did, retired really early. Now sits on the board at Brain, helps them. Like
Tom, give me a call.
Tom Greco, he's the man. But find somebody like that, because 90% of the questions that I have now are about life, or about parenting, or about being a good husband, about not losing my temper. And, you know, he's from where my family was from. Like our families kind of, I guess, knew each other back in like the Garfield and Lodi days. And he knows people that I know. And he's been through a lot of the same experiences. And that's where I think the transition happens. Finding that place where you're ready to like die to yourself a little bit. Die to yourself.
Die to yourself. What do you mean by that?
Die to yourself in that like drop the ego. I'll use my daughter Olivia as an example. I had to always be like strong-willed. And now that she's a junior in high school and she's going to be 17 and driving.
Dude, that's crazy.
Bro, like we were the same person. And that's what made us clash all the time. And that's what ruined our relationship for such a long time. Not ruined it, but like it made it hard.
Put a strain on it when it didn't need to be there.
Right. Now we connect over the things that we love, like music and other things. One of the best things that I did last year was took her to a Lord show at MSG and like took her out to dinner and hung out, and like she's going to be gone in a year and a half. And it took me this long to like, or at least it took me 15 years to get to that place where I had to die to myself to be like, your needs and what you love and why we fight all the time. Like, I don't need to be right. I don't need to be right all the time with you, Olivia.
I struggle with that.
Well, now it's kind of becoming a joke in the house because she's still tight with Samantha. But on the flip side of it, like now we have our moments where her and I, like, we'll see eye to eye, and I'll just give her like the look like my dad used to do. It would just be like,
break the fourth wall, like The Office, like we were talking about earlier.
break the fourth wall, you know? And like, she knows that I have her back. And that's really what I want her to have when she goes to school, wherever she goes. You know, she's looking at Villanova, and she's looking at Charleston, and she's looking at Palm Beach Atlantic, or where mom and dad aren't going to be there. So the foundations that we build, like, you can always call me. Like, that's something to apply to the people at work. But the people I've worked with, we've gone through medical issues. We've gone through, you know, marriages, buying houses.
You want your intern to still be able to call you. Even the lowest person on the totem pole, you want to be able to have that relationship where, hey, you might not be in the C-suite, but you are a part of the team.
Yeah. We hired an ex-client of ours. She's out in California, probably in September, to help me with sales. Like, I couldn't do it all on my own anymore. And her daughter is now helping with like the cold calling side of things with like Apollo IO and things like that. And we met with Marley on, what day is it? On Tuesday for the first time ever. And Corby was like, listen, I want to talk to my daughter. I think she'd be really good at it. She's, you know, really a good communicator. And we talked to Marley about it the other day. And I was just like, I want you to feel, your mom knows this already because she's worked with us as a client for 1.5 years. And then, you know, on the other side of it now working with us, I want you to ask questions. I want you to break things. I want you to be curious. We know what we know. And this is all frankly new because the selling that we did for the first 17 years of the company was just my relationships.
Eating what you kill.
Right. And now I said to her, I want you to go out, and if you have an idea, even though you've only been here a day, bring it to us. Bring it to Corby. Bring it to us. I don't know how the dynamic is going to work between them two and, you know, working together, but bring it to us. If we can do it and we can make it better, let's do it.
That's a good mindset to have, though, because you could be, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? That could be your mindset. That's what a lot of people might have, right? Success in all of these years that you had. Now in year 19, you're like, yo, like, we need to be able to do things differently, right? We need to have that mindset of we don't know it all, right? And I think that's something that we all get with age, right? We realize we don't know it all.
You're a little bit, and I'm seeing it with my kids more. You're not seeing it yet because, I mean, you're younger than me, but like generationally, the shit that kids have now and like what they and how they think is totally different from the way I thought.
Yeah. I mean, that's every generation. But yeah, even today, I can't understand what kids in high school, like my family, kids in high school, what they're saying. They're using like fucking words I've never even heard of before.
It's not, yes, it's the words and it's like the language, but it goes, one of the things that I am most proud of about Luca is that his nickname is Unk. They call him Unk because like he's an old soul and he knows every parent that we know loves him, goes up, he shakes their hand, he looks them in the eye. That's all amazing. The things that we were taught, kids aren't taught today. Like kids that he hangs around with or some of his buddies, like they don't say hello. Like every mom he sees, he gives a hug. Like that's what it was.
Yeah.
But that's the way we were taught. Like you respected your elders. There's not
yes,
that
sir,
same.
No, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not that same vibe today.
No. You said earlier, I'm really happy that we sat down and did this podcast.
Yeah. I am very thankful on many, many levels to be able to do this, to be able to have a conversation, to see you where you're at now, you know, where it all started.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
I'm not going to make you cry, but I'm telling you from when we both met and where we were mentally, physically, emotionally to where we are today, like we might not be Jeff Bezos, but like we're doing things right. You're doing things right. You're creating something that, and you still have the hunger to do it. You're creating something that means something to you, like here.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody about this, I think last week, and they were like, if you have 20 people or you have 10 people or you have 5 people, if it's authentically yours and like you're doing it successfully, like why do you need it to be something else? Your success, you're a success. What you've done and how you've done it, you're doing it the right way and you're successful. And to the people that matter in your life that you hold accountable and that hold you accountable, you can lay your head down on a pillow and you can, you know, I'm probably not going to ever have like $50 billion in the bank. And like, that's cool. I'm good. That ship sailed. But the people that are in my house, the people that are in the business, I think they know that they care about me or that I care about them and vice versa. And like, that's what it is. At the end of the day, you have your reputation. I know it sounds so stupid and cliche, and I know it's been used since like the dawn of time, but that's the freaking truth. That is the truth. Drew, that is the God's to honest truth.
I have no arguments. That's actually a mic drop moment. So you're not on Instagram that much anymore, but if people want to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
They should call you.
Should call me? I'll be your secretary.
You could go on, I think I had to change my name too. I think it's DS Magarro now. It used to be Dare Bear, and then everybody started calling me Dare Bear, and then my kids hate high school.
They also realized you were a fully grown man.
Yeah, and then my kids were like, can you change your name to not be Dare Bear? So DS Magarro on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. We try to put a lot of like, when I do content on LinkedIn, I try to do a lot about like the leadership of things. And
well, don't worry. We'll clip up some posts for you.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. And that's really the best way to find me. We have, you know, our website, the DSM group. Check it out. My mustache is awesome.
He does have a beautiful mustache. Yeah. And on that note, if you guys liked anything here in this episode, like it, smash all the buttons. You could find Darren on OnlyFans. I appreciate you, and we'll see you guys next week.